hospital and going into rehab. So I asked a couple of people a few questions about like basically like them finding out like what was going on with me and stuff of that nature, like going to the hospital and stuff, like the whole experience all around. And I wanted to, like, I talked about it enough, I feel like I have, and I just wanted to hear like what other people thought that were there, that was present while everything was going on with me. So I will be inserting the clips, basically showing what other people that were there think about like the whole situation and stuff. So yeah, check it out.
You called me. And you was in the hospital because you called me. You told me you was at the doctor's office. And you're finna rush into the hospital because your sugar was, I think, 500. And I went to the hospital. Well, you told us a month before you was a diabetic. Now, what I think, when your cousin passed, you hopped on that road. And I asked you not to hop on that road. Death is serious, and I know you can't change it. But speeding down the highway the way you did and how you got here, that wasn't healthy. And once I went in the room with you, because I think I beat you there. And they put you up in there. No, he was there. I was alright in the beginning. I felt bad for you. I couldn't take the pain away, but I was alright in the beginning until he was alright. Once they got you right, that's Friday. I came back I didn't come that Saturday when the word. I came that Sunday when you was doing a lot better. You was talking good. I went home Sunday night and I called you and I couldn't understand nothing you were saying. You're my son. Encourage me. I had you. I was in labor for 2 months, 3 days. Okay. It was short labor, but I had you. Yes, I knew you was gonna do it, because when you didn't take a shower, you didn't want me coming back to give you a shower, baby, because I'm late. Shower, not bed bath. You too big for a bed bath. You 6'9". Bed bath will not work for you. But I know when you was at the hospital, sometimes I want to choke you. Because sometimes you just want to give up. And that was the hurtful part. If you never fought, you never been to the hospital. If you never fought for your health, you don't know how to fight. I knew you had to learn it. You had to learn to fight. I couldn't fight for you. All I could do is encourage you.
I received a FaceTime call from you that I missed because it was super early and I were in a different time zone. We're 3 hours behind you. So while you were calling me at probably 9 in the morning, it was like 6 something in the morning where I was at, so I was asleep. And when I woke up, I texted you back, but of course, you didn't respond, so I was still unaware of what was going on. It wasn't until a couple hours later, I were getting out of the shower, and your mother called me, and she pretty much informed me of what was happening and that you were in the hospital, and I basically just dropped everything and booked a flight to Orlando to get to the hospital. My thoughts about what were going on with you were pretty scrambled at the moment, because the first and only thing that I was thinking about was essentially just getting to your bedside so that I could essentially be next to you. It wasn't until I was, of course, next to you that I fully had the capacity to kind of take a second and decompress and realize, okay, this is what's going on, and it made me feel kind of a tsunami of emotions, a tornado of emotions. It just wasn't one emotion that I was feeling, because it were several things at once. I was definitely angry. definitely sad. I was definitely optimistic. I was definitely pessimistic. I was everything that you could possibly be is the amount of emotions that I was feeling because I could not grasp or understand the concept of what was going on with you completely. But with the information that was available to me at such short notice, it just gave me the opportunity to just kind of focus on you and you solely because that was the main thing that I was focusing on, was just you getting out of the state that you were in. How did I feel once I knew why you were in the hospital? After months of having to go through everything from the initial state to you currently being in rehab, I felt a little bit of anger. I felt a little bit of blame. The reason why I felt those two things specifically, I felt the anger because, we were in discussion about things that could, potentially keep you from experiencing the experience that you experienced before you hopped into the hospital. And blame because I felt like because of the fact that I was so far away and I was unable to essentially monitor you, monitor your eating habits, monitor your medicine, monitor things like that, I felt partially responsible for you being in the predicament that you were in. What encouraged me to be at the hospital and at your bedside, I would think that was obvious. You're my partner, so it's kind of a no-brainer. So I pretty much, again, just wanted to focus solely on you getting better. And just providing whatever assistance that I were able to provide while you were there, just to give you the most comfort that you could possibly have while being in a situation that you obviously didn't want to be in. Have I noticed your improvements? Of course. The improvements are definitely amazing. The one thing that you consistently told me while we were in the hospital is that I need to believe in you. And, it took me a while we were in the hospital. It took me about a week or so, but then, I came to the conclusion of, he is showing that determination for him to essentially get back to who he once was. So if he's telling me that he's going to work his damnedest and do what he needs to do to be where he needs to be, and he's telling me that I just need to believe him, and I believe him. So whatever he's telling me, I believe it. Do I ever think that you'll be the same? I would say that I'm 80-20 on it. And the reason that I'm 80-20 on it is because, again, with the amazing amount of progress that you're showing, that 20% is just me always being the type of individual, because my personality is always, we have to create a contingency for the worst case scenario. And in this sense, the worst case scenario would be, what if you don't get back to 100% your original state? I'm more so focused on the 80% side of the aspect, which is, just the optimism and just me believing that if you're telling me that you're going to be back to your original state, then I'll believe it. And that is the only thing I truly and honestly want to focus on. So with you telling me that you believe that you will possibly get back there at a specific time frame that you want to be back there, then I believe what you're telling me. So, in short, to answer the question, if I believe you'll be back to your normal state, yes.
So I found out that you were in a hospital when your mom texted me, and I didn't think it was super serious, and then I got another text saying that you're in bad condition. So the next available moment, I took a flight in and went to see you, and you couldn't really barely speak, so it's difficult to see in that state. But you've made very significant progress in rehabilitation. I don't know if you'll ever be 100%, but you've gotten a lot better, and we'll see where this journey leads.
I knew that you were in the hospital was you had went to your doctor's appointment. Remember, I called you asking how your doctor's appointment went, and it sounded like you were sleeping, so I was like, just call me later. And what was that, like Thursday? I want to say like Saturday I called back and I was like, well, I haven't heard from you. And that's when you told me that you were in the hospital. They kept you because your sugar was too high. I came and saw you that Saturday, and we had spoke when I was there, and you were like, oh, they're going to discharge me on Tuesday. Just want to level everything out and everything will be fine. Wednesday or Thursday, your mom had called me and told me that you were still in the hospital, but I couldn't really understand what she was saying. She just said, Robert's still in the hospital. And that Friday, I went and saw you. And that's when I realized, like, it was a lot more serious than what it originally was. When I got to the hospital that day, I said hi to you, and I couldn't make out what you were saying. And Alonzo was there, and I looked at him like, hold on. This isn't the person I left on Saturday, because you were up, talking, laughing, joking, all that stuff. So it was kind of like a shock when I got there on Friday, and my friend wasn't my friend. So your mom let me know that Thursday that it was more than what it was. I felt really bad. I was also like sad because I knew who you were before that situation happened. So it was kind of like, damn, like, this isn't the Robert I know. But then it was also like, I didn't want to show you that I was sad or like, bothered or whatever emotion that I was personally feeling, because I felt like at that moment you needed people to support you, make you feel a little better, because if I'm feeling a certain way about how your condition is and how you were in front of me, I knew for sure like you were feeling 10 times worse than how I was feeling for you. So for me, it was like, okay, well, let me put my emotions to the side and just be there for him in a way that I know that he needs right now. What encouraged me to stay the night was, for my family, regardless of what the situation is, we've always felt like if a family member is in the hospital, they shouldn't be in the hospital alone, because things do happen. People do get scared, kind of thing. So for me, staying the night with you was kind of like an automatic. It wasn't like, I'm gonna do it just because. It was, I'm gonna do it because I love Robert. That's my friend, and he needs somebody here with him. So I don't know if you remember, that Friday, Alonzo had left to go back to California. And me and my mom were in the room with you, and I think it was the nurse, the charge nurse that was in charge that night. And I told my mom, I was just like, he's gonna be by himself. I'm kind of like worried because like, he can't really do anything for himself right now. And I remember going to the desk asking, can I stay with him? And they were like, no, because of COVID restrictions, nobody's allowed to stay the night with him, which I thought was odd because I knew that Alonzo was staying with you. But I was just like, okay, you know what? Hey, they know I'm probably not really a family member, so I'm gonna respect the rules. And I told my mom, I'm not comfortable with him being here by himself. And my mom was also uncomfortable with you being there by herself as well. So what we did was we wrote down our phone numbers for the charge nurse to call us if anything had happened. Also, I took the charge nurse's number of the phone that they had that night. And I also knew like, okay, well, I have Robert's phone, but I also knew like, okay, he's not really good with his motor skills right now, but if I can't get a hold of him, at least I can get a hold of the charge nurse. And I remember as soon as we got home, my mom was like, call Robert and make sure he's okay. We were calling, you weren't answering. I think we called the charge nurse a couple times, and she wasn't answering. And finally, when we got a hold of the charge nurse, I think she was in your room at that time. She put you on the phone. We were talking for a little bit, but I can also hear the fear in your voice. And I told my mom, I was like, he's not okay. And my mom was just like, you know, they're gonna do everything that they can do. Just make sure you go and see him in the morning. So that night I could hardly sleep because I knew like Robert is scared right now. And before me and my mom left the hospital that Friday night, the charge nurse gave us reassurance. He's gonna be taken care of. We're gonna make sure he's okay. You don't have to worry about anything. But deep down, like, you know, you always have that gut feeling like, I don't really know. And that Saturday when we came back to the hospital to come see you, that's when you told me what happened the night before. And when you told me and I told my mom what happened, it was like, nobody's gonna tell me that I can't stay with this man at this point. Because we trusted you to do what you were supposed to do and you did it. So at this point, we're not taking no. And when I spoke to the charge nurse, she was like, yeah, no, that's no problem. Somebody can stay with him the night, for however long he's gonna be in the hospital. And after that, it was kind of like, okay, if I'm not staying, somebody else is staying. So that's just what it was gonna be. So I have noticed your improvement. Every time I see Robert, it's like, look at my friend. Seriously, so I was there from like the beginning. Of course, like I wasn't there for like the very beginning, but when I got to the hospital and you couldn't speak, you couldn't talk, like you couldn't speak, you couldn't read, you couldn't write, you were unable to walk, you were unable to do a lot of things on your own. So from seeing you from that point to where you are now, there's definitely a lot of improvement. And every time I see you, it's something new. So I remember when, towards the end of your hospital stay, when you got transferred to the other side of the wing, before they sent you to your rehab, you were talking a lot more clear. And I remember that night when they were like, oh, well, Jordan can't stay with you. You were like, nope. You were very clear what you were trying. No, I don't care. And you were also at that point, like, kind of walking with your walkers. I was like, okay, you know, we're getting somewhere. And then when you got to your rehab, you were speaking up more clear. You were going through, you know, your occupational therapy. You were walking. You would walk to the bathroom by yourself. You're doing all this stuff by yourself. Things that they told you, oh, it's going to take longer than what it originally was going to be. Every time I see you, Robert, it's something new. So now, like, you know, you're talking clearer than what you were in the beginning. You're also walking perfectly fine. You got your little run going on. So I definitely see the improvement, and I know for sure, like, it's only gonna get better as time goes on. I think you'll ever be the same. Yeah, absolutely. I think that if not, I think you'd probably be better because it was an unfortunate situation you had to go through, but I also feel like it was a wake-up call for you to appreciate life or see life in a different way. So I feel like now that you know that this is what happened to you, you're always gonna strive to be the better version of yourself or to improve yourself a lot more. So I definitely do see that you're gonna be back to normal and way better than what you were because you knew what it's like to not have it, if that makes sense. So you and I have like also discussed you going back to school and stuff like that. I think that that's an amazing thing, and I know for sure, like, because this happened, you're only gonna want to go further. So I know for sure, like, you're gonna go back to normal or be normal again, but it's gonna be Robert 2.0.
Thank you guys for taking the time out to watch my video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and tell a friend. This, as of now, will be the last video that I do on this particular subject until I'm able to tell you guys the full story. So I don't know how long that will take, but when it happens, I'll let you guys know exactly what happened. So yeah, until next time.